on fait comment?
Je crois que dès que quelqu'un parle, ça prend l'écran, non? C'est ça?
Ouais.
Okay. Okay, so good afternoon. Well, good evening for us in France. So my name is Florence Almusini. I'm a programmer for Film at Lincoln Center, and I'm very pleased to be speaking with director Christophe Honoré, who's he's going to wave, so you know that's Christophe. And actress Chiara Mastroianni, she's going to wave too, so you don't get confused between both of them, you know, in case your screen is busy. And we're going to be speaking about their new film, On a Magical Night, Chambre 212. So I hope some of the audience joining with us had the chance to watch the film. It premiered in Cannes last year, and Chiara won Best Actress for Un Certain Regard selection. And we just showed the film early March at Film at Lincoln Center, part of Rendezvous with French Cinema. We had 2 real screenings in the theater with full audience, and they were very, very nice. Unfortunately, there was no talent traveling, so it was just me and the film.
So sorry.
Yeah, it was fine, but we did show theatrically, which was really nice. And we just opened the film on streaming release on Friday. So I'd like to thank the US distributor, Strand Releasing, as well as the Cultural Services of French Embassy in New York and Uni-France for their help with the release and setting up this event. It's actually really nice to be talking to you both about the film because I mean, I think Christophe, I've done a Q&A with you for every film since Love Songs, and I've met Chiara also for Lina, which was a few years ago. So it seems like yesterday, years ago. And you've been working together. I mean, you made 3 films, 3.5 films together.
6. 6.
6? No, but I mean like real films where you spoke more than just.
Comment ça, real films? Non, mais dis donc, Florent.
No, I mean, Man at Bat is a real film, but it was more like a documentary. But it's been.
No, we did Love Songs together.
Yeah,
We did The Beloved. We did Making Plans for Lena.
Yeah.
And we did this one, and then there was Homo Bain, Man at Bat,
Yes,
which was a kind of different project, but
it's a half film. Not like it's a half film. It was more like a documentary side for the scenes you were in often, and you had a tiny part in a Beautiful Person.
yes.
Yeah, but mostly Christophe, I've enjoyed torturing Chiara on screen because he created a lot of very sad role, very dramatic turns for her, where she lost a sibling, she lost her children, she committed suicide. So it was about time that Christophe wrote a comedy for Chiara so she could show a range and how funny, humorous she can be on screen. So I want to thank you for developing a new project so you could work together. Christophe, the last time we talked together, you were in New York for Sorry Angel, which was a very somber coming of age and a personal tale for you. And you've said numerous times that when you create a project, it's often as a counterbalance to the previous film, where you need to change the range, what you're working on. You need to explore something different. And the previous film was long, heavy, and personal, and it kind of makes sense that you would want to do something more like a vaudeville, a comedy, something set in a studio that involves, in a way, it's a classical play, you know, where everything takes place in one space with few characters, but it's also exploring the concept of time travel, which is, you know, it's Christophe Honoré doing science fiction. So can you talk maybe a little bit about how you started working with Chiara on this project? You were thinking of her to work with in a comedy. And so can you, I know you'll speak first and then we'll go to Chiara about the beginning of the film.
During a long time, I would like to, no, oh la la. Je vais faire attention. I wanted to do a new movie with Chiara, and I hoped to do a movie about American writer Lara Kasishke, and it took more time than I imagined. So I always said to Chiara, next movie it will be this movie about this novel. And at the end, it was impossible for me to wait more, and so I decided to write this story. It's very after Sorry Angel. Sorry Angel belongs to for me a kind of trilogy. It's there is a novel called Ton Père, Your Father. This movie, Sorry Angel, and the play called Les Idoles.
Yes.
So I worked a lot in theater during I worked on this screenplay on a magical night. So there is, for me, there is two origins. The first is retrouver Chiara. Je sais pas comment ça.
To find Chiara back.
To find Chiara
In
back.
case you lost her, you found her back.
Yes, exactly. And try to mix, to match theater and cinema. And it was very important for me at the beginning when I start to write on a magical night. Chiara, it's your turn.
Well done.
Well done.
Yeah, you used different tenses. It was very nice.
And for you, Chiara?
For me, what?
When did Christophe approach you to work on this new film?
Yes.
I guess it's a new screenplay, or he talked to you before? Or?
No, he started. We met. We because Christophe and I, we don't see each other that much between movies. We do keep in touch, obviously, but we're kind of two bears living in their own. Always, we don't go out much. So he first told me about the fact of working together again, and then he said to me that he had started writing something, and he thought of mostly, he didn't tell me the story, he gave me like big lines, but mostly he spoke to me about the kind of character he wanted for me to play, which would be, you know, he described it right away as what we would be a cliche of manly behavior, you know, like cheating. Again, a cliche, huh? I insist, to be precise. And so I thought it was great. It was funny. It was very, for me, very, in a way, exotic, you know, because suddenly, like you said at the beginning of this chat room, that usually Christophe either kills me or has me myself killed, etc. So I was really with him into darkness, and suddenly, which I enjoyed a lot doing. Actually, I'm really a drama queen, so I was very happy to be a dramatic character for Christophe. But suddenly, the fact that he saw me like that, for me, was something I didn't even see myself like that. And maybe if we had not done those movies before, which were very dramatic, but made us spend a lot of time together because we were working out of Paris, etc. Maybe if we had not done those movies before, he would have not thought of me for this kind of character. So, you know, I think everything leads you to something you don't expect. And so I was very excited. And suddenly I felt like, oh, this is the revenge moment, you know. Suddenly I'm not going to be the one that's been cheated on. I'm not going to be, you know. So it was very funny, and at the same time I was more confident in Christophe than in myself. So I kept telling him, "But are you sure you see me portraying that? Am I going to be able to do it, etc." But then I always I trust him a lot. So since he trusts me more than I trust myself, I rely on him for all of that stuff.
So you'd say, like, you've worked with Christophe a few times, we talked about it, but do you say that working with Christophe is inspiring for you as an actress, and he really pushes you to go further than what you think you could do?
Yes, but he pushes you without giving you the feeling that he's pushing. And I think that is something right away, the first time we worked together on Love Songs, is something that we felt that it was easy for us to work together in the sense that we could understand each other without necessarily over explaining everything we felt, you know. And so I lost the question.
Does he pushes you as an actress? Like, he tells you to do things you don't think
he pushes me
do?
in the sense that he sees me doing things I would not expect to do, but he's not a pusher in a violent way. He's a pusher in an inspiring way. And on the movie, on A Magical Night, you know, we had the luck of working in a studio. So it was fantastic because every day Christophe would work at night and come up with some new ideas. And so we were like kids, you know, every day coming on set, and we were like, oh, let's see what he invented last night, because since he works very fast and he has a very strict economy of work, he's not wasting time or money ever. If he's got new ideas, he's able to do them, especially when you're in a studio. So this became very, for us, for Vincent Lacoste and me especially, we were really like kids, you know, like we first hit the menu and see what we were going to have at the canteen. And then we'd find out what Christophe had in mind that day. And every day there was a surprise. And I'm not saying this like, you know, this is a lovey-dovey thing. It's true. And so, you know, see someone inspired is very inspiring for you. You want to be worth his trust. You want to be worth his work, and you want to be worth his inspiration.
So does he give you strict instruction in terms of working on the dialogue and in terms of inspiration, you know, developing?
No,
what you have to say?
Christophe is very strict with himself before being strict with his actors. He can be strict with the crew, but he's very protective with the actors, which doesn't mean he's not strict, but it doesn't give you orders. It gives you a path that you can try to follow. So before we started the movie, like we've always done with the other movies we did together, he said, you know, I have in mind this and that, you know, thinking, you know, have you seen that film? And I was like, yeah, but well, watch it again. Or some movies I have discovered even thanks to him. But it's not because he wants to give you a lesson or being, you know, it's just like something that inspires him, that is not necessarily linked to the script itself. Like you would not put them together necessarily, but then it makes sense when you're on set. So it's really inspiring. There's dynamic.
I have a distraction in my back sometimes. I mean, one of the strengths of the film is obviously the dialogue, because it's always well written with Christophe, but there's a lot of dialogue in there, and everybody has to bounce off each other. And it works as a comedy only if it really counteracts really well. So all the scenes where Chiara is speaking, and I think especially when you're across Vincent Lacoste, because it's both the lighter characters in the film, the scene with Benjamin Biolay are a little more like darker, and so it's a different type of energy. But like the way you bounce back, like when you're talking, it's really like even American comedies of the 30s. It's just like it goes fast, it's sharp, and it's just like, so it's. Can you talk a little bit more, maybe Christophe, if you want to, about like working on the dialogue scene, and when you were working with Chiara and Vincent in the studio, and just doing all these experiments on like, you say this, you say that, like how did you do this?
You are right. The movies you talk, the screenball comedy, American comedy, like Indiscrétion, Cucor, and are very, you have a kid very, yeah. for me, and I think I said that to Chiara, I really want this character, this woman character, is for me like a Cary Grant character in this kind of movie. So it's very important for me. Of course, there are a lot of words in the movie, but the words are always have always another sense. And sometimes the music of the words, the speed of the word, more important than the word itself. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
And it's very me. I really like in movie when you have a common language. Common language. I don't like movies. I don't like that I don't know the cop or the teacher speak differently. I don't like this kind of naturalism. I like the idea that each movie is as a country, and in this country we speak in this language. So it's very important for me that all the characters share the same way to speak. In this movie, it's very sophisticated the way they speak. It's always very ironical, and of course you need to have good partners for this, and the partners of course are the actors. It's so important to have actors who understand this kind of music. And I worked before with Chiara and with Vincent, and I was sure that they share this kind of language. They like to it's difficult for me to explain in English, but it's when you see Vincent and Chiara, even if you believe absolutely in their character, you never forget that they have pleasure to speak. It's something maybe a little bit theater. It's a way of elegance. You understand this? It's a way of c'est une manière d'être poli. It's a
manner of being polite.
Yes, that to speak without no solemnity. Solemnity, yes.
I think it's solemnity. Yeah. Why are you using words so complicated?
And
sorry. Because we're French.
Solemnity.
We're lucky. We have a lot of words.
It's true.
No, but it's very important. It's always a game, and it's a game between the characters too, not between the actors during the shooting, and between the characters too. And I really like in this movie to because now I am old filmmaker, so I am less. Yeah, I'm very old. I assure you, Florence. It's why we do this kind of thing with Zoom, because it's impossible for me now to travel and this kind of things. I'm too old. No, I would like to say that I am not afraid now to do things in movie that sometimes some people say it's not good in movie, and particularly in French movie. You know, in French movie we are fed up with the love story, with the people who talk, who are too much intelligent. This kind of cliché, you see.
Yeah.
So I am a French filmmaker, and when I was 15, I dream about cinema, seeing the movie, Truffaut movie, Rohmerian movie, and always the the dialogues were so important in these movies, so I refuse now to private myself this kind of pleasure. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. When you don't understand, do something like...
No, I just help carrying your thoughts, but you've done really well so far.
Okay. On reassure
Chiara and I are on standby. But you have a complicated word like solemnity.
Say that I like the intelligent way to speak when I speak in English, and I am so idiot when I speak in English, so it's very difficult for me.
No, no, because we understood exactly what you were talking about.
Okay,
so,
thank you.
So there's no problem. So Chiara, do you want to add something about the dialogue?
The thing about the dialogue for me, as you may have seen when you see the film, I guess it's a lot of reading for US viewers that don't understand French.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I thought, oof, this is going to be the thing to really start learning and getting in, to be able, when it comes, not to be afraid of missing words, you know. I guess I've never done theater, and I guess maybe it was more like that, of an approach to be really free with the text. And because the text can be so sophisticated at moments, that it was really important for us actors to make it sound as if it's exactly the natural way that we talk, you know, and not sound too theatrical or as if we were like, you know, whoa. So to make it as natural as possible. And it was, I remember sometimes calling Christophe and I was like, how the hell did you have put, because I don't know if in English you can feel the subtlety of the thing, but really it's like speaking French, but at some moments in a kind of French 2.0, in the sense of the specificity of how the sentences are. But for me, it was very exciting, because, you know, I think it's the most without singing film I've done, in a way, because the musicality helped me a lot with the lines. And actually it's funny, because Benjamin Biolay, who plays the character of Richard when he's old, he had a long monologue to learn, and he had difficulties. So in order to learn it, he composed a music, and suddenly the dialogue, he completely managed to put it in his head. So there is really, for us, it was important to make it sound as normal as possible. But of course, we were enjoying like a fantastic meal, because it doesn't happen every day to have such incredible dialogue. Because it's true that French films tend to be very talkative sometimes, and I agree, sometimes too much. I've been on like international juries, and you see the face of the international jury when it comes to French film. They're like, oh my God, now comes the reading moment. So I know, but in this case, I think really Christophe managed to do a really intelligent film without being intellectual.
It's true, and it's not easy, because like, you start with a scene that could be the most French cliche you can find. It's like the mistress in the cupboard coming out. And so you have to find the likeness of the dialogue with also a physicality where it doesn't like, you play on the vaudeville part, but it has to transcend that. And it's really not an easy part to play, and it's not an easy text to say. But
you know, not being
pretty
easy, it can be something very exciting. Where then after that, Christophe, we had a project for theater that, and because I did that film, and until now I was always telling Christophe, no, I'm too scared to go on stage and this and that. And then this film, the way it was written and made me, when he proposed to do theater, I said yes.
Oh, great.
Unfortunately, it's not happening, but
well, maybe not now, but maybe later on when things.
But anyway, just to say, it's the difficulty of the dialogue doesn't make it something unbearable. It can be very tasty to have something difficult to do.
I will remember. I will remember the trick of putting this as a song, so I can.
Yeah, I had never heard of that. But the trick, you have to be a music composer. Huh? Then you have another problem. Benjamin is a music composer, so for him it's easy.
Well, yeah, I'll think about that too. We do have some audience questions, so I can continue. Okay. So there's a question from THM. Towards the end, I guess the end of the film, the 4 protagonists wishes to have a polygamic marriage with Maria's lover too. Do you want to underline the fatigue of choosing? Because choices can become regrets sooner or later. Okay. Yeah, choices can become regrets. True.
T'as compris?
You can both answer.
Je n'ai pas du tout compris, mais donc vas-y, Chiara, réponds.
No, you're the director. If I understand correctly, I'm going to try to translate to Christophe, unless you want to do it you. But en gros, je crois qu'il demande si le fait du polymariage, c'est parce que c'est par renoncement au fait de choisir, parce qu'un choix finalement est toujours décevant.
Oui, puis des choix deviennent des regrets, en fait.
Voilà.
Polymariage, qu'est-ce qu'on entend par polymariage?
Bah, tu sais, quand il dit on n'a qu'à tous se marier ensemble là dans le bar.
Oui.
Okay. Christophe has forgotten his end of the film.
No, but it's a fake polymarriage because at the end it's the same character. So when the character say we can marry all together, it's I believe I don't think something about polymarriage. I have no idea about polymarriage. Me, I am very, very. I am less free than my character, and for me,
c'est plus comme une réconciliation.
Okay, it's more something like a reconciliation than a real project of love with a lot of people.
It's because we're French that they're asking us about polymarriage.
Yes, and for me, it's not so much a reflection. The movie about the wedding, or it's really to ask seriously but in a funny way, what is love with the time? Is love become deeper and deeper? And I really believe this. Or is love something that disappears with the time? So, and for me, it's very important. I think it's really a love story. I really believe in this couple, the couple between Maria and Richard. It's why for me it's not a happy ending in a way. It's just a question of love. It's impossible for them to separate, even if they feel something different. It's always I have the impression to tell so much cliché, but go on, Christophe. No, for me, in this movie, it's what is the different step of love, and Maria has, in a way, immaturity in love, but I am sure that even when she said to the young Richard, why I don't love you anymore, I am not sure she's so sure about these things. J'ai très mal répondu à cette question.
No.
No?
It was good.
I am more sentimental.
Well, there's actually a lot of questions coming in.
Okay, go.
So we'll make it easy for you. Christophe, can you discuss the significance of Charles Aznavour to the film? He's on the soundtrack and he also plays Maria's Wheel by way of Stéphane Roger. Was the question from BM Marquesa.
It was very strange. I don't know how to say la volonté in English.
The
wheel.
Yes, it's always very difficult, this kind of character, allegoric character. It's very, you know, like Jiminy Cricket. And I like the idea, this allegoric will for a woman is a French singer crooner, but very crooner. Because of course we all love Charles Aznavour, but he's a very, it's the way he sings the love is always a little bit misogyne, you know?
Yes. I mean, you didn't use the most misogynic song in the film, but he definitely has.
Aznavour is very known in France for songs where he talk about, he say to a woman, tu te laisses aller.
I was thinking of this one.
You are, you know.
You let yourself go.
Yes, it's a crooner who always thinks that the male are better than the woman, in a way. And I like this contradiction. Because of course, this movie is very mental movie. We are always in the head of the woman character. So all the characters who appear in the movie, she build all times these characters. So with a lot of contradictions, censure about herself, shame. So it's why I like the idea. It's a crooner, but it's like in Dream. We say that it's Charles Aznavour, but the actor Stéphane Roger is completely physically different than Charles Aznavour, and in a way he is very more close to another French crooner, very known, but for bad facts, called Dominique Strauss-Kahn, with his jacket in leopard. So of course, for me, it's something very strange and very embarrassing things to have a crooner Charles Aznavour, but in fact, looks like DSK.
Yes, it's hard to put up about that.
Peut-être que tu peux défendre pour pas que j'ai des conneries, Chiara.
Ah non, mais t'inquiète, je fais attention. Hein.
Oui, bah, à part que it's live, so nothing can stop that now. There was a question for Chiara. So Chiara, it's from B. Marquesa. You're natural in a comedy role. Do you think Maria will reconcile with Richard, and be able to stay faithful? Or will he accept the marriage on her term going forward? So what's what you think?
I, on the contrary of Christophe, I think it is a happy ending. I think she is going to go back. I think by the fact she saw her husband younger, just like when she met him, it's not a question of physics. I mean, not only, but there's also the fact I think she maybe understood. Now we're doing a lot of thinking about these characters. We weren't thinking so much while we were doing them. But anyway, this is a perfect film for a shrink. I think maybe she realized without, in an unconscious way, why she had fallen in love with that man. It's like, for me, it's like a allegory of, not falling in love again, but remembering why you fell in love in the first place. Then about the rest, is she gonna keep being unfaithful? She is faithful to what she thinks. So then you have to define what is unfaithful. No, I'm kidding. I think, I don't know. I think we should shoot a sequel, definitely. And that Christophe should work on it, because there's a lot of questions of that type.
Mm-hmm. So, Christophe, would you make a sequel?
Of course not.
Well, no, maybe after he makes another very sad movie in which he tortures you or something, maybe someone after, you know. There was also a question we got before, and one question was for both of you. It was, what's the last film that made you cry?
I just saw, I had never seen it. I just saw Terms of Endearment by James L. Brooks with Shirley MacLaine and Jack Nicholson. And I cried so much. I love those actors. I love this director. And I know it's not a recent film, but it's what I saw just a couple of days ago and made me really cry.
Mm-hmm.
It was tough.
I cry all time these days. So even in front of very bad movies, even in front of the break news,
Yes, no, we're not. This is not how do you say? On n'est pas chez le psy. She's just asking if you saw a movie that made you cry. You know, basta. I too cry all the time.
A Star is Born is a movie that, but the Cukor movie, the Cukor Star is Born is a movie where I cry all times. It's very strange because I saw last night, opening night, John Cassavetes, and I cried again and again. And I don't know why, but there is in every movie, even in very bad movie, when people applaud, I cry all the time. I don't know why, but if
I think they applaud for you.
No, if there is a scene in theater or cinema on people applause.
Like when people are clapping, it makes you cry?
Yeah, I don't cry. It's too much emotion for me.
Are you sure you want to tell us this?
No, but of
Are you sure you want us to know?
We have the impression that we talk.
Yes, we're at home and we think we're having a drink with 4 people, but no.
But Christophe is very open in his Q&As in general. Yeah. I mean, always. There was another question for Chiara. It's, do you rewatch your father's film, and do you have a favorite performance of his?
Yes, I do rewatch them. I think it's actually, I do rewatch movies, and I watch also many interviews, because movies are movies, but interviews where he's himself, like especially there was one made in the 70s that I saw recently, was a David Letterman show, very, very funny. But anyway, yes, I do rewatch them, because some of them, because I mean, most of them because I like, sometimes because out of melancholy, whatever. Anyway, it would be difficult for me to pick one performance, because I think he's always been so strong. I just think, if I think of 8.5 or A Special Day, the Ettore Scola movie with Sophia Loren, or Drama of Jealousy, the Ettore Scola movie again with Monica Vitti, the Bell'Antonio. I mean, it's I love the Bell'Antonio. It's a big menu.
Yeah,
but I do watch them for the pleasure of the film itself, and also for other stuff.
But you watch them at home, or not necessarily on the big screen?
Yeah, I watch them at home. You know, it's, I mean, to see old movies, I've seen so many old movies, especially the Italians and the American and English ones, but most of them I've always seen on TV, because in Paris, we're lucky, we still have some, theaters that do show old movies, which is fantastic. And if not, yeah, I watch them on DVD.
There was a question. Okay, there was another question for Chiara from Italian Cinema Today. You give the perfect balance of comedy and drama in your character.
Thank you.
Can you tell us about your interpretation of his character and the quality in her that you wanted to bring out? I mean, Maria is a great character.
She's a great character. She's a great character, and for me, it was really something very so different from, I mean, even for me as a person, that it it was wonderful to play such a character because she's so free. I don't feel like that at all. Not because of like conventional reasons, but just the idea of freedom, of doing something you want to do, because not because you're having second thoughts or having an agenda behind it. And I think that's what makes her really cool, because she could have been a character that is unbearable, you know. She could have been a character that is not human, that is not attaching, that you could just think, oh my God, she's always acting in the back. And also the character of her husband is so sad and funny at the same time, you know. It's so for me it was wonderful, and to have the energy of that character. And it was, yeah, it gave you confidence. I don't know how to put it. Gave you, it was something special for me, very special.
Well, I mean, also the way Maria is written, there's no judgment on her. There's judgment from in the movie from a mother and
but that's her own guilt.
But not from the viewer.
Yes,
us, we don't judge her.
Thank God. But the judgment even from the mother, like you're saying, is not really the judgment of the mother. It's Maria's own guilt. Because I think what Christophe managed to do really well in the film is how do you film the ideas? How do you film someone who is thinking? And I think the fact that he came up with the idea of putting the ideas into human characters as souvenirs. Many people said ghosts, but they're not ghosts. It's her unconscious talking. So the guilt, maybe the character of the mother could have been impersonated in a completely different way, but it comes like this because of her own guilt. She knows what she's done. She's not as light as she pretends she is, but she's free. Yeah. So in the end, she picks what she wants, but it's her own guilt talking through them.
No, but I thought it was really amazing to see a character written so well and so freely, and without judgment, and someone we can, just think, don't look down on her, and just like appreciate her.
Yes,
it was, and it's rare. I mean,
and it was funny because on the set we would sometimes have nicknames that we would give to each other, not out of any theory, but just like this for fun. Right? And we were thinking, for men, when they have a lot of lovers like this, we say, oh, they're Don Giovannis, and it all becomes, wonderful and Romanesque and whatever. And we were like, how could we call Maria, because for a girl, for a woman, there's no equivalent, unless you say the but and that is very, and I think in a way Christophe has always very much been in how do you say in English, engagé, like concerned with the society, but I think his elegance and his intelligence is able always to put it in a way that is not like saying, oh, I'm going to put you a 10-ton truck on the head. You don't see it coming. Because in all his films, I mean, we've been, even films that we did together or not together, there's always some very dark and deep and, very concerned and very aware of what's going on in the world. There was the AIDS, and in this case, this movie came also to Christophe in a moment where the society was starting a big change. There was all the women's movement, and I think Christophe, in his way, I don't know if he thought of it, if he wanted it, or if it just like built up like that, but he did an incredibly how would you say, a feminist character in a way, because those kind of conquistadors are always for men. Or if they're for women, we judge them, So, and in this case, you feel like, oh, I wish I was like her. I wish I was like her, for real.
I don't know if you want to go. There's a lot of questions coming in, so if you're okay, I can ask maybe a couple more questions.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Okay. So there's a question for you, Christophe, from Genilo. It's what's the influence of your visual style from Metamorphosis to your latest film? Maybe if it's too much, you can just like.
Excusez-moi.
Ton influence sur l'influence sur ton style visuel.
Depuis les Métamorphoses?
Ouais, ça fait beaucoup.
Yes, it's very strange because in each movie I always try to organize different references. Metamorphosis is it's so different because it's a movie with non-professional actors. It's a movie. It was very strange to imagine the old Greek gods come back in Europe and fall in love with the youth of French, mais une jeunesse métissée. Je ne sais pas comment on dit métissée.
Mixed race.
And in this movie, it's very different. It's a movie in studio with a lot of picture references too. But of course, I try to not to close myself in a system of references, and each movie impose the visual way you shoot. Of course, movie after movie, I see that sometimes I do the same kind of images, but it is not a real choice. I try to be very different and start a new movie like if it is the first movie. So voilà, it's difficult for me to explain this without references, but of course with my DP I work a lot about paintings. I show, but even to the actors I show to them some pictures, some painting, some movies, sometimes some songs before the movie, and it's like a mood, a general mood for everybody, for all the crew. And after I try me to keep the line. This movie is very strange because it's a movie we shoot very, very fast in 6 weeks, and after I go to the editing. And, after 1 month, we have the movie. It's so strange for me, and even for my Chantal Immense, my editor. I remember very well a night we see the movie after 1 month, and we ask the producer to come, and we say, I think we are finished. And so we decide to present to Cannes, of course, because in the end of March, I remember, Chiara, we still shoot in the street of Paris.
Yes, we finished March 19th.
Yes, and 1 month after, even 3 weeks after, we show the movie to Thierry Frémaux in Cannes. And we have been selected in the middle of April. So it's impossible to go so fast, so speed. Now in cinema, everything is so heavy that always every people say to you, you have to take time before the shooting to have all the money, take time in the shoot, during the shooting, during the editing. On me, I really believe in the la vitesse, in the speed. Yeah. I like the idea that cinema is something like light a cigarette and in 10 minutes we have all the pleasure of the cigarette. I really like to do movie like this, and I think that when I could not do my movie like this, I would prefer to stop. I think movie is something for me, of course, it's something that has to be light, speed, and in the mood of time, and it's something you have in your mind during a month, 2 months maybe, but not during 5 years. Because after, it's like if you are a bad sculptor with a big stone of marble, yes?
Yeah, marble, yeah.
You are with your burin.
I do not know how to say burin in English. I've
Right.
never.
But
Okay.
I don't like the idea that cinema is something marble. No, it's something more like cigarettes. This metaphor is very strange, but
I didn't want to say it. Okay, I guess I will ask one final question, and then you will be free for your Sunday night.
Yeah, there's a night now.
I mean, but it's true. There's a lot of questions because it's rare that we have both of you to talk like this, and so for Chiara, it's rare to watch you speak English. Well, it's true because we don't see you enough in New York, which you do so well. Any chance to see you in an English-speaking film anytime soon?
I would love that, but it has never happened to me. So, I mean, I've been on projects like for Greg Araki, but usually, I don't know why, I now that I think of it, I had no lines almost. So I've never had the chance, but I would love to, you know, but.
Okay, well, I'll ask one final question.
Me, I prefer Chiara stay in France.
So we can speak English and French.
This is why they don't, Christophe takes the role they send to.
Oh yes,
Christophe doesn't want you to go anywhere else.
Of course, because Christophe always tells his actors, oh, you should work. And then when you say, oh, this comes up, oh, no, you shouldn't do that. No. And then you end up waiting for him all your life.
No, but he gave you a really beautiful role.
Yeah, but don't say it too much, because then he's going to say to me, let me alone for the next 20 years and then I'll be dead. So I would rather not say that to him. Yeah, it was okay, the part. I think he can write better. He still hasn't, you know.
Yeah, he can.
He still has to search for something. Yeah.
Next level, Christophe.
I don't need you on this one.
So then it'll be the final question for Christophe and Chiara. Which filmmakers inspire you the most?
Chiara
has to say Christophe, obviously, otherwise it's going to be mad at her.
No, I really, it depends. I try to write a movie these days. I don't succeed, but
you're saying you don't succeed because you realized I'm on the line, and you're thinking, if I say I'm writing a movie, she's gonna be all over me for the. I know you.
No, but I think Truffaut is the more inspiring, and even in this movie on a magical night on. Enfin, Chambre 212
on a magical night.
On a magical night. When I did the movie, I thought Truffaut is not a ghost in this kind of movie. And after I realized, but months after, that it's completely exactly the same situation than in Last Subway, le dernier métro.
Yeah, Last Metro.
Last Metro. You know, a couple separated. One is on stage and theater. It's Maria in her bedroom in hotel. The male character is Claude dans la cave.
In the basement.
And it's the same situation, how to tell a story of a couple when the two people are separated. So I think Truffaut is even when I don't think about him, is always in my mind when I write, when I shoot. And yes, I think it's for me is the cinema I would like to do.
Okay. And for Chiara, other than Christophe, obviously, because there'll be a repercussion.
It's different. I'm not a filmmaker, so I really have like the pure pleasure just of a simple viewer. But I don't know. I think I love the old Anglo-Saxon movie. I'm thinking it goes from Night of the Hunter of Charles Laughton to Wes Anderson nowadays. I mean, it's just like I wouldn't be able to say, because I'm not a filmmaker, so I wouldn't be able to say like there's one, you know. I'm an actor. I have to have, you know.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining this conversation tonight. We're really happy to play on the Magical Night. I hope everybody will watch the film, and then people can still watch the conversation after, because I think it's taped. And maybe hopefully we'll be able to see each other for real. Sometime, where in New York or Paris or Cannes or a festival, you know. I don't know when I'll go to Paris, but you know, I always say I will go, but I never do.
We will come back in New York.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'm in Grenoble right now, but you know, hopefully I'll go back to New York too, and same for you. So thank you so much. It was really great to see you and to talk about cinema. So I guess we'll just have to end. We can. I know it's sad.
Yeah, I don't like to say goodbye.
No, and I saw you both have cats. You have a nice cat, and I saw Christophe's cat too on the trailer, so I was very jealous. The beautiful cats.
Oh, you have a kid?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's not as cuddly as the cat. It's very nice, but it's not cuddly.
Better to finish.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye. Talk to you next time.